That which offers no resistance overcomes even the hardest substances. That which offers no resistance can enter where there is no space. Few in the world can comprehend the profound teaching of silence or understand the immense value of non-action. Now, I would say there's no concrete proof that Laozi, the legendary founder of Taoism, truly ever lived. But if he did, it would have been somewhere around the 5th or 6th century BC, making him a contemporary of Confucius. Nevertheless, this Chinese philosopher penned a timeless masterpiece called the Tao Te Ching, the foundational text of Taoism. A well-known concept that has emerged from Taoist philosophy is Wu Wei. This term can be translated as non-action, effortless action, or the paradoxical action of no action. But what does this really mean? In practical terms, Wu Wei can be described as the state of flow, often referred to as being in the zone by athletes. When athletes enter this zone, they engage in action without striving, moving through time and space almost effortlessly. There are no extremes, no worries, no ruminations. Everything flows naturally, as if guided by the universe itself. As an introduction to the beautiful tradition of Taoism, I present to you the philosophy of flow. The Tao Te Ching is a mysterious piece of art. Not only is there no consensus on when exactly it was written, but the existence of its author, Laozi, remains shrouded in mystery. Yet, one thing is certain. The profound impact of this work has left a mark on humanity that endures to this day. Not to mention, the Tao Te Ching is the second most translated work in world literature, second only to the Bible. The essence of Taoist philosophy lies in living in harmony with the Tao, also known as the Way. But what is the Tao? That's a question we can't truly answer, and it's futile to try. Our understanding of the Tao only goes as far as the limitations of our perception. What the Tao truly is, what it looks like, feels like, smells like, or sounds like, remains a mystery. Moreover, the Tao that we speak of isn't the real Tao, according to Laozi. That's why the Tao Te Ching opens with these famous lines. The Tao that can be described is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be spoken is not the eternal name. So, what knowledge is available about the Tao? Taoist philosophers emphasize time and again that the true Tao is an all-encompassing force that is beyond our comprehension, beyond the reach of our senses. And yet, even though we can never truly grasp the Tao, the goal remains to live in agreement with it. This approach is strikingly similar to the Stoic philosophy of living in harmony with nature. So, how do we live in harmony with the Way? Taoist literature doesn't provide one clear, practical method for achieving this, but it offers clues. It points to the importance of stillness of mind, curbing the senses, embracing humility, and ceasing to strive. Only then can we open ourselves up to the workings of the universe. However, this stillness of mind doesn't necessarily mean sitting down in silence with our eyes closed. The Taoists observe that stillness of mind can in fact be combined with action. If we are fully present in the moment, our actions flow effortlessly, without friction, and with a razor-sharp focus, so intense in fact that it can feel almost ecstatic. In his autobiography, retired professional basketball player Bill Russell mentioned moments when, during games, it felt as if everything was happening in slow motion. He said, "During those spells, I would almost sense how the next play would develop and where the next shot would be taken." Similarly, Taoist literature tells the story of a cook named Ting, who was so absorbed in his work that he entered a state of flow. His skill and grace caught the attention of Lord Wen Hui, who was amazed at how elegantly Cook Ting sliced through the oxen. When he complimented the cook, Ting laid down his knife and replied, "What I care about is the way, which goes beyond skill. When I first began cutting up oxen, all I could see was the ox itself. But after 3 years, I no longer saw the whole ox. Now, I guide it by spirit and don't look with my eyes. Perception and understanding have come to a stop, and spirit moves where it will. I follow the natural makeup, guiding my knife through the big hollows, avoiding the smallest ligament or tendon, much less a main joint." One of the most important details in this story is the condition of the cook's knife. Cook Ting noted that good cooks change their knives every year because they cut. Mediocre cooks change their knives every month because they hack. Yet, he had been using the same knife for 19 years because he wielded it with such skill and subtlety. This story connects to another essential teaching of Taoism: the power of gentleness. By forcing and striving, we might get the job done, but often at a great cost. We expend far more energy than necessary and might even cause collateral damage in the process. But someone in a state of flow approaches tasks with intelligence and grace, knowing when to act and when not to act. They find a delicate balance between action and non-action. It's a matter of not too hot, not too cold, a golden path that lies between anxiety and boredom. The idea of non-action runs counter to the Western ideal of constantly pushing harder and harder to achieve results. But in Taoism, sometimes the greatest action is no action at all. We live in a world where we are constantly encouraged to be ambitious, to take control, and to relentlessly strive for success. Yet while society pushes us to achieve, more and more people are suffering from depression, anxiety disorders, and sleep disorders. We have to ask ourselves, are we burning ourselves out in this pursuit? Are we losing ourselves in the race to achieve more, to do more, to be more? In our culture, we look down on passivity. It's often mistaken for laziness, but these two concepts are vastly different. Passivity, in the Taoist sense, isn't about doing nothing out of laziness. It's about recognizing when inaction is more powerful than action. When we observe nature, we begin to see that doing nothing actually makes far more sense than we tend to realize. In nature, results don't always correlate with the amount of energy we put in. Think about it. Results are often the consequence of a series of actions, many of which occur naturally. These actions don't require our constant intervention. Sometimes the task at hand unfolds on its own, with minimal human interference. How many times have we found that problems solve themselves over time? How often do we notice that by simply stepping back, life finds a way to move forward? Taoism offers a powerful metaphor to help us understand this. It compares life to a river. The river already has its course, or sometimes several courses, all predetermined by nature. Once we find ourselves in this river, we have choices. We can swim against the current, constantly exhausting ourselves as we struggle to force our way upstream. Or we can hold on to a branch, desperately clinging to what's familiar, even if it keeps us from moving forward. But the most profound choice we have is to let go, to flow along with the stream, and allow the natural course of life to carry us. The reality is that most of us spend our lives swimming against the current, fighting forces we can never fully control. And the saddest part is, we don't even realize we're doing it. Our minds have been conditioned to believe that they can and should control the environment around us to ensure our survival. But this mindset is ultimately egocentric, because the vast majority of processes both within us and outside of us are beyond our control. Just think about it. We don't control our own bodily processes. We can't control our digestion, our blood flow, or how our wounds heal. We don't control other people no matter how much we might want to. We don't control the future. Its uncertainties are infinite. And we certainly don't control who we fall in love with or who we find attractive. All of these aspects of life are out of our hands. Yet, despite all this, life continues to move forward in a direction that is, for the most part, natural. Sometimes intelligence and foresight help guide the way, but more often than not, life simply follows its natural course. When we stop fighting the current, when we choose to flow along with the river, we align ourselves with this natural flow of life. This is the path of least resistance. It's the recognition that life is going to unfold, whether we like it or not, and the best thing we can do is let it unfold without resisting it. So, what is the Taoist way? It's not about trying to control the river, because no matter how hard we try, we can never do that. Instead, the Taoist way is about learning how to navigate the river, how to read the current and move with it, not against it. Another powerful metaphor Taoism uses is the nature of water itself. Water is soft, yet it has immense power. It's humble, always seeking the lowest places, but it also symbolizes one of the most profound virtues in Taoism: softness and humility. Here's a quote from the Tao Te Ching. "The supreme good is like water, which benefits all of creation without trying to compete with it. It gathers in unpopular places, thus it is like the Tao." Water may be soft, but it's capable of overcoming even the hardest of obstacles. Over time, we see water erode rock, shaping landscapes, valleys, and canyons. It achieves this not by force, but by consistency and patience. Water naturally seeks the lowest places, flowing without purpose or goal. Yet it nourishes everything in its path. It performs the work of the universe without any desire for recognition or reward. Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet it is unmatched in its ability to overcome the hard and rigid. Nothing can compete with the persistence of water. This metaphor reminds us that we don't need to be hard or forceful to accomplish great things. Sometimes the softest approach is the most powerful. When you've experienced a state of flow, you'll notice that one thing disappears, and that's your focus on results. When you're in flow, you're not worried about what's going to happen or how well you're performing. Instead, you're fully immersed in the task at hand, whether that's playing a sport, writing, or even something as simple as dancing. In that moment, the pressure to succeed or the fear of failure fades away. There's only you and the present moment. This brings us to a key Stoic principle that aligns with Taoism: the concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate. Stoicism teaches us to embrace whatever outcome comes our way, without worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. Instead, we are called to focus on what's happening right now, in this moment. In flow, there's no room for anxiety about the future or regret about the past. You're completely present, and the only way to achieve this is by letting go. Letting go means you stop swimming against the current, stop holding on to the branches of past worries and future concerns. Let go of what's weighing you down. Let go of control. Focus on this moment. Live it fully, without hesitation, and you'll find that everything falls into place, naturally. Thank you for watching.